So you want to shift into from midterm into longer term type activities?
Yeah, I think in general that makes a lot of sense as they look at kind of ongoing optimization. What does that move, really look like when they're starting to, understand what the transition, imagining they took that first step, payroll is coming out. Now they're really focused on that financial side, Mark. Where do you see clients, coming in after they've gone live on payroll for a couple of months? Where do you find that aha moment for them where they start to build out the rest of that blueprint?
Oh yeah. No, they're having aha moments all over the place, and that's, one of the things that we say is that, just like when you go out and you buy a car, you're not sitting there in the car dealership going, well, until I know how everything works in this car, I'm not pulling out of the parking lot. Every button, every switch, every adjustment, I've had a car now for a year and a half. I'm still discovering things on it, right? Because God forbid I read the user's manual. But same thing is true with software, is that, don't feel like you have to know everything day one. And we say, get yourself onto the core solution, get your payroll settled, get your financial reporting settled. And to your point, once you're in the solution for 2 or 3 months, you're going to have those aha moments. And so we have a methodology here of getting you in and up and running as quickly as possible. And then we have, after a go live, these what we call smaller optimized phases is our approach. So we take I wouldn't call it a totally agile approach to deployment, but it's certainly not totally waterfall like we used to deploy software back in the day. It's kind of a combination of both, but getting people into the solution, getting people into the system so they can, they can start working with it. And the more the more questions you can ask, and the more you can, and that's true with your payroll solutions too, so get them into the system. We're able to do that pretty quickly. Once you have the blueprint there, we can spin up a sandbox, get you into the system, start playing around. Once you go live, I guarantee you in 3 months, the lights are going to come on and you're going to go, oh, this all makes sense. And if this makes sense, what can I do here? And what can I do there? And what can I do there? And this is where you start leveraging, all the other fun tools that are out there now, when it comes to Power BI and the whole Power Platform, when it comes to Microsoft Copilot and the integration with Teams and Outlook and all the other ways and that's where I think you see the most benefit and the most efficiencies within an organization is when they start pulling all of these tools together that the Microsoft stack offers. So getting them to that aha moment is absolutely right, Rob.
For sure. I believe, when I see the initial relief kind of as kind of the business continuity piece of, ensuring people are paid those critical functions, don't skip a beat when you look at these transitions. And then as they move forward, it's really, the pieces that you talked about on optimizing that efficiency and iterating on kind of the different, analytics, reporting, combining the full stack and kind of understanding the different processes that then are able to roll out related to security, the additional functionality across the integrated stack now that they're in a modern platform, really that is fully integrated, both across Greenshades and Business Central and the different Power Platform pieces that you guys are able to, provide and help clients stand up. They don't have to boil the ocean or swallow the entire elephant. It's, business critical pieces first, and then kind of moving down that rest of that stack. Where do they see, continual optimization for their effort that they can get the best bang for their buck? Compliance becomes proactive, right? There's continual tax updates, there's continual, rollouts from Greenshades, and there's continual updates in all the different product stacks that you mentioned on the Microsoft side. And then as those features releases happen, and as, AI becomes involved in all of the product stack across Copilot, how can they better use it day to day on an ongoing basis, not trying to train their entire team and work through kind of a on-demand change management. It's really the iteration of that stage kind of long-term, so they can see that long-term ROI, the long-term value, and get, real usage across all of these different things, right?
I think that's, if you could encapsulate the long-term benefit, you hit the nail on the head there, is that, once we get to this destination, we receive the benefits on a regular and proactive basis. In the on-prem world, you had to reach out to Microsoft and schedule an upgrade, and guarantee you that you aren't waking up Monday morning going, you know what, I'm going to do an upgrade to GP this week. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Or I'm going
We
to,
both had so many of those requests though.
yeah, every Monday morning, my inbox is
Yeah.
filled with those requests, So it was always very reactive. Now it's proactive because you guys are pushing out updates and releases. You have to, because things are changing so much, and people need to know about it to stay compliant. Microsoft and Ace are pushing out new capabilities, and it's coming out on a regular and repetitive basis. So you're constantly in this optimization mode, this continuous improvement mode. And I think if there's a long-term message and benefit, is that essentially pretty much every year your systems are new. I mean, the infrastructure is refreshing, the applications are refreshing, the compliance factors are keeping up to date. You don't have to think about that anymore. You don't have to pick up the phone Monday. I want to do an upgrade today. We don't do that. So that's the long term, in my mind. But all right, so I think we've covered everything, Rob. Unless you want to just unless there was anything else you had, or maybe do a quick recap.
Yeah, I think in general, the way both of us are thinking about it and what I've heard from clients is, really understanding, how they get the long-term effects of thinking about a move now, even if they're not going to move in the next 3 months or 6 months, but they need to start that planning today, which is the short term, and really understand, where they take that first step and what rolls out after that, which is the midterm, and what's the long-term game for the long-term planning, right? And really understanding that there's automation in the long-term migration once you've moved over, and there's automation both on the back end and on the end user side, but it's not client or company reliant, right? It's baked into these processes, baked into these systems, and it's not like what it once was, where everything is an additional cost for additional features. Really, it is future-proofing much of these investments on both sides. So, I think just in general, we've kind of hit up on a lot of different points that could speak to a lot of people, but I think what both of us have heard from a lot of different clients is every day when clients have made these migrations, I hear often, I wish I had done this sooner, for a number of different reasons, whether it's related to reporting, whether it's related to not having to deal with compliance updates, whether it's because an audit goes so much faster for them now, internally or externally. But really, that is a continual, storyline, I think, for both of us, that builds confidence. And, Business Central has been out for a number of years and has matured and will continue to evolve and be iterated on. And I think we've gone through a number of different early stage, and now we're in the mid stage of this. And I've seen everything from, mid-sized clients to large enterprise clients on Business Central and Greenshades, and utilizing Ace as well. And just in general, there's not a one-size-fit-all model or setup for these clients. Really does help businesses across the spectrum.